So good morning everyone, my name is Lalit Soni and you are watching Drishti IAS. In this live session, we will be discussing Indian Express newspaper. So let's start with the front page. Here we will see that day after Putin meet, PM underlines loss of innocent lives is unacceptable. We have talked about it in yesterday's discussion. Then when we are talking about the line over here, Modi in Vienna, after a long time, after nearly 41 years, our Prime Minister has visited Austria. So basically that can be, you can say, a landmark when we are talking about the foreign relations. When we look at the foreign policy recently, you will realize that we are even exploring those areas which were earlier not utilized properly. When we are talking about the Latin America, when we are talking about the Central America, when we see the areas of Africa, etc. And now when we are talking about the smaller countries in the, you can say, remedy under section 125 CrPC. Okay, now here you can see maintenance under section 125 of CrPC we will discuss. Then we will discuss blood test for Alzheimer's. This is also a news from page 1. There was this news with respect to the, when we are talking about the national institutions. Okay, so AIMS has come up with a new blood test for Alzheimer's. So you can say that for the early detection of the Alzheimer's. Okay, so we'll talk about that. Then UP's fee waiver for hybrids. When we are talking about the hybrid vehicles, so UP has come up with this incentive that if you are going to buy a particular, you can say, hybrid vehicle means that there will be electric as well as both the, you can say, induction engine which will be present in the, you can say, sorry, combustion engine which will be present in the vehicle. Okay, so we will be talking about these hybrids. We will see why UP has given this particular waiver and what will be the impact of that. Moving further, we will see one article from your international, one article from economy, and then in the end there will be one article for your own read, and this article is related to Arunachal Pradesh. Okay, and this will be covered in our In Focus program. Okay, so you can keep a tab on that. Okay, now moving further, and we will start with the practice question which was given to you in the previous lecture. So that question was, the Republic of Dagestan was in news recently. Where is it is located? Okay, Finland, Russia, China, or Mongolia. When we are talking about Dagestan, this province over here, this is basically Dagestan. Okay, and it is in Russia. Okay, and there are other countries like Georgia which is having boundary with that. Okay, and when we are talking about this Dagestan, it was in news because recently there was one attack which has happened over there. So there was this violence activity which was going on, and that is why this particular region was in news. Okay, anyways, Russia is in news since last, you can say 2 years now, so please keep a note on that. So option B would be your right answer, that is Russia. Now starting with the first article of the day, that is related to section 125 of the CrPC. Section 125 of the CrPC talks about the maintenance. When we are talking about a woman, when there is a marriage, and out of that particular marriage as well, even after the divorce, there are certain provisions for the certain whatever you can say daily life to life expenditures are there with respect to that. If the woman is dependent on the husband or the ex-husband, or if she does not have means to provide for herself, in that case there is this provision of maintenance which has been given for the woman as well as the child. Okay, so we will be talking about that. When we are talking about the Muslim woman, you know that in India there are certain personal laws. Okay, so in the personal sphere, or you can say the aspects related to the marriage, etc. So in that case you will find out that there are certain aspects which are covered under the personal laws. Okay, and these personal laws are basically derived from their culture, etc. And on the basis of these personal laws, later we have actually codified them and we have come up with different acts, etc. When we are talking about the maintenance related provisions, there is this 1986 act for Muslim women. Okay, but again, the CrPC, that is section 125, it is a general act. Okay, and when we are talking about the 1986 act, that is considered as a special act. But the thing is, when we are talking about the equality, okay, this particular section will prevail. Okay, because if you are going for some kind of discrimination on the basis of religion or sex over here, so in that case there article 14, 15 of the constitution, they will always prevail. Okay, now coming to the article over here, so what is the issue recently? Because recently there was this case in the court wherein a woman has asked for, you can say, maintenance under section 125 of CrPC, and the opposition party has said that the you can say, since it is a woman is of a particular community, that is from Muslim community, and that is why they are saying that there is this act which is 1986 act which will apply on that, and on the matter court had decided. So let's talk about this. The Supreme Court on Wednesday ruled that all married and divorced women, including Muslim women, illegally divorced by the pronouncement of the triple talaq. Okay, now here there is this word that is called illegally pronouncement of the triple talaq. Now earlier there was this provision in the Muslim personal law that if a husband says talaq 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 for the 3 times to the wife, okay, in that case there will be a talaq. Okay, but afterwards there was this case in the Supreme Court, and in that case it was actually made sure the triple talaq is unconstitutional, and that is why you cannot go for the pronouncement of triple talaq and go for the divorce. Okay, now considering that there was, in this particular case, the husband has said talaq 3 times, and ultimately he has considered that he has divorced the woman. So that is why that is an illegal divorce which has happened over here, and after that the woman is asking for the maintenance. Okay, now here you can see Supreme Court has says that all the married and divorced women, including Muslim women illegally divorced by the pronouncement of the triple talaq, are entitled to claim maintenance from their husband under section 125 of Code of Criminal Procedure, that is CrPC 1973, irrespective of her personal laws. Now here you can see irrespective of her personal laws. Okay, because here we are trying to ensure the higher values of the constitution, that is equality. Okay, second thing over here is, here you can see that they are talking about the Code of Criminal Procedure. Now you know that from the 1st of July we have actually shifted to the new criminal laws. Then why they are pronouncing judgments based on this particular section 125 of CrPC? That is because this case was registered before 1st of July. Okay, new cases will be registered under the new laws. Okay, so that confusion is also clear. In separate but concurring judgment, similarly there was another judgment. Okay, the right of Muslim women to seek recourse to section 125 will not be eclipsed by the provision of the Muslim Women Protection of Rights on Divorce Act 1986. Now this is the act I was talking about. Okay, this act is there with respect to the you can say protection of rights on divorce. Okay, in that they have also has this provisions, etc. But the thing is, they are saying that this provision of section 125 will not be eclipsed by this particular law. So here they are saying that simply sections 125 of CrPC will dominate over here. Okay, now moving further, this act was enacted by during the government of Rajiv Gandhi, and in response to the Sahabano judgment. We will discuss the Sahabano judgment as well. Now moving further, the right created under the provision of 1986 are in addition to and not in derogation of the rights created under 125. Now whatever rights in this particular act, that rights on the divorce, Muslim women's rights on the divorce act, okay, so in that particular act, whatever rights has been given to the Muslim woman over there, these rights are actually complementary. You can say that these rights are in addition to what rights exist already. Okay, and not in the derogation of section 125 of CrPC. That section 125 of CrPC is there, you can avail it. Okay, but there are certain other you can say benefits which are there under this particular you can say 1986 act. Okay, so both the acts has to go parallel to each other, and again when there is a contention between the two acts, then obviously the section 125 of the CrPC that will prevail over here. Okay, now underlining the religion neutral character, section 125 of CrPC is a measure for social justice to protect the weaker section irrespective of the applicable personal laws of the parties. We have seen that this is for the social justice because there are certain vulnerable sections, or when we are talking about the enactment of such acts like 1973 act, in that point of time the position of woman or the position of a child, that is not very strong, or you can say that these were the vulnerable section, and that is why we have this particular you can say maintenance related provision in the CrPC. Okay, if section 125 of the CrPC is excluded from its application to a divorced Muslim woman, it would be a violation of Article 15 Clause 1 of the Constitution of India. Now it is clearly said that if we are not providing this particular right to a Muslim woman, that means that we are actually going against the Article 15 Clause 1 of the Constitution that talks about the, you can say, equality. Okay, here we will see. Here you can see that the state shall not discriminate against any citizen only on the grounds of the religion, race, caste, sex, place of birth, or any of them. That is basically they are saying that this is the section, sorry, this is the Article 15 clause 1 of the Indian constitution. Okay, and now if you are giving this right under section 125 to a Hindu woman and not giving it to Muslim woman, that is basically a discrimination on the religion. Okay, so that is there, because of which we are saying that section 125 is available to all. Okay, now a reading of section 125 of CrPC would indicate that its intention is to provide for a speedy remedy. Okay, so basically here what we are doing is that we are providing a speedy remedy so that there can be maintenance which is given by a husband to support the wife. Okay, now the vision, the provision is meant to achieve a social purpose. The reason being that after marriage it is duty of husband to provide shelter and maintenance to the wife in Indian context. Now right here, the social contexts are continuously changing. Now men and women are on an equal footing, but again, if we talk about the historical discrimination which has been happening, so in Indian context, if we see, most of the households are like that, where women are basically, you can say, dependent on the husband. Okay, and in that case, if husband is going for the divorce and not providing any money for the maintenance of that particular woman, then from where how will she survives? Okay, so for that there is this provision of maintenance which has been given in the CrPC. Okay, now particularly if she is unable to maintain herself, if he neglects or refuses to do so, the wife is legally entitled to enforce the rights by filing a petition under section 125 of CrPC, irrespective of any other right created in favor of the wife under any other law. So basically they are saying that even if there is another law, if women choose to go for the CrPC 125, then this is valid, and this is you can say as per the constitution. Okay, now if we are talking about the section 125 of the CrPC, that states that if any person having sufficient means neglect or refuse to maintain his wife, unable to maintain herself, or his legitimate or illegitimate minor child, whether married, not able, whether married or not, unable to maintain itself, or C, that is his legitimate or illegitimate child, not being a married daughter. Okay, here they are saying that he will be actually going for the maintenance of his wife who is unable to maintain herself. Second is legitimate or illegitimate child, whether married or not. Okay, that is there. And third is basically over here is that unable to maintain itself, or his legitimate illegitimate child not being married daughter. Okay, so basically they are ultimately talking about 3-4 situations wherein these maintenance will be given. You don't have to remember all these things, I'm just telling you this thing because there is the section which has been covered over here, so it will be easy for you to understand that. Okay, who has attained majority where such child by reason of any physical or mental abnormality or injury unable to maintain itself, or his father or mother unable to maintain himself or herself. So here you can say there are category not only of your wife, but children, married or unmarried. Okay, other than that, if there is some kind of casualty which has happened because of which he is a child is not able to maintain himself or herself, in that case also, then father, mother, for all those people there are these provisions of maintenance are there. So if there is a wife after divorce, she can go for the maintenance. Even before divorce, okay, if she is married, she can ask for maintenance. Second thing is, for if the parents are also there in the old age and the person is not giving the proper maintenance amount or proper care, in that case also parents can also approach the court for the maintenance. Okay, so that is there. A magistrate of first class may, upon proof of such neglect or refusal, order such person to make a monthly allowance for the maintenance, such as monthly rates as magistrate thinks fit. Okay, so that is about the section 125 of CrPC. That is not only for the woman or the wife, this is also for the kids, this is also for the parents. Okay, that is one thing. Second thing is, when we are talking about the Muslim woman exclusively, they have this right to go for asking maintenance under section 125 of CrPC, despite having a personal law or despite having a particular act which is dedicated for the rights of Muslim women with respect to the divorce. Okay, so that is there. Now coming to the next part, that is basically related to the how this Muslim law or this particular law, that is Muslim Women's Act 1986, came into picture. Before this law, when we are talking about the before 1986, when this law was enacted, before that CrPC was there to maintain that. Okay, so maintenance under section 125 of CrPC, because there was no other law. Okay, before the enactment of the Muslim Women Protection Rights Act 1986, Muslim women could seek maintenance under section 125 of CrPC like other women from the other communities. Okay, after that, the personal laws have so much influence on a particular community, so they have actually started to file petitions, etc. Okay, then Here you will say this was affirmed by the Supreme Court decision in the Muhammad Ahmad Khan versus Shah Bano Begum 1985. Now when we are talking about this particular case, Shah Bano case 1985, in that particular case Supreme Court has said that section 125 of CrPC is applicable to Muslim women as well. Okay. But after that, there was this government, Rajiv Gandhi's government, and they have come up with this 1986 Act. Here, you will see, in response to the Sahabano case, the Indian Parliament enacted the Muslim Women Protection of Rights on Divorce Act, providing a specific mechanism for divorced Muslim women to claim maintenance. Okay. Now they have provided, they did not take away the right of the maintenance, but they have provided a particular procedure under which they will be providing the maintenance. Okay. Now this procedure was this, that it restricted the maintenance period to the iddat period and tied the amount to the meher or dowry given to the woman. Now basically meher or the dowry, this is the, you know, at the time of the marriage, at the time of the contract, because in Muslim law we know that marriage is a contract. Okay, so at that point of time there is an amount which has been given, that is meher. Okay, if the marriage breaks, so you have to pay this particular amount. Okay, second thing is it restricted the maintenance period to the iddat period. Now there is this particular period in Muslim law when we are talking about, that is iddat period, usually of 3 months, which a woman must observe after the death of the husband or the divorce. In case of death or divorce, you have to observe a period of iddat, that is 3 months, mostly, generally we can say that is 3 months, and after that only she can remarry. Okay, so basically they have actually talked about the period of iddat and for which only they can provide the maintenance. So basically here they are saying that for 3 months only they will provide the maintenance. After that she has to, you know, take care of herself by her own. Okay, so in the 1986 Act, they have actually restricted the maintenance period to the iddat period, that is basically 3 months. Okay, moving forward, there was this another case, that is Daniel Latifi versus Union of India case 2001. Now this case come again in the Supreme Court, and Supreme Court again says that the constitutional validity of the act, that is 1986 Act, but they have extended the right of Muslim woman to get maintenance till she remarries, and it however reduced the period of maintenance to the completion of the iddat. Okay, now in Daniel Latifi case was this particular thing which was there. Okay, they have said that the constitutional validity of 1986 is there, so this law is constitutionally valid. Then they have said that the extended the right of Muslim woman to get maintenance till she remarries. Okay, so that was there. Now afterwards what happens, that is how this particular act came, 1986 Act came. After that, you know that there are various you can say judgment of the Supreme Court, etc. And recently also when we are talking about this particular judgment, recently we have read, in that also they have said that section 125 is the constitutional right, and in that a Muslim woman can also approach the court for the maintenance. So that is what the current position is. Okay, so I hope that is clear. This is an article from the Explained. So if you have time and if you want to go through this, you can go through this. Otherwise we have covered all these things. Okay, we have covered the present case, we have covered the Shah Bano decision as well, we have covered the challenges to 1986. The challenges to 1986 are pretty normal, like if you are restricting period to 3 months, then that is a cause of concern for the Muslim woman. Okay, so that is there. Now moving further to the next article, which is related to a particular you can say drone exercise which has happened, the testing of a drone which has happened. Okay, for us, more than the testing of that particular drone, the place where it has happened, that will be important. Okay, so let's see. Drone with 25 kilogram payload tested at the world's highest pass. Okay, here you will see a Bangalore based firm has claimed that they have successfully tested a 100 kg max take off weight MTOW unmanned aerial vehicle, that is basically a drone, at at an altitude of 19,024 feet at Ladakh's Umingla Pass. Okay, so this is the location where they have tested it, and that is how this location becomes important, which also happens to be the highest motorable pass in the world. Okay, now doing certain activities like this at this particular place signifies that we are trying to focus on our you can say military capability to enhance, or you can say when we are talking about our defense equipments to enhance, so that we can take care of the border issues at this particular heights as well. Okay, so that is one thing that is strategically important for us. Security aspect is also over here. The new space research and the technology claims to have conducted the test flight on Tuesday demonstrated carriage of 25 kg of useful payload from the 5.800 meter high pass. Okay, Now you can go through this particular, you can say, information, which is little bit you can say technical, but it is not technical, but there is some data which is given over here. The new world record at high altitude for the 100 kg MTOW class drone for the highest altitude. Now this information is of no use for us, and that is why I said you can go through it. Now when we are talking about the use of this particular drone, so that can be used in the civilian as well as the military use. Okay, then when we are talking about the first, security related infrastructure will be enhanced over here. Second thing is troop movements can be done, otherwise supplies can be ensured. When we are talking about the drone which is carrying 25 kg of the, you can say, supply, so that can be there for the, you can say, small sprints, etc. Okay, or when we are talking about the helicopter shortage, etc., for them you can use this particular drone. A huge boost to the support logistics carriage, so that is one thing, logistical carriages. Then second is disaster and rescue events, medical relief in the higher regions like Jammu and Kashmir, Uttarakhand and the northeastern region. So basically for the carriage this particular event can be helpful. Okay, now moving further here, we have talked about the Umingla, that is the world's highest motorable pass. Okay, where it is located, we will talk about that. Second thing is, this is about the Project Himank. Okay, we will talk about the Project Himank as well. Now the strategic road built under the Project Himank passes through the Umingla, which connects the Chisumle and Damchok villages. Okay, so this particular location you can remember. Okay, and name of the pass which is important for us, and this particular project, Project Himank. Okay, here you will see Project Himank. Now it is a project of BRO, Border Road Organization, okay, being implemented in the Ladakh region of the Jammu and Kashmir. Okay, now this is old information, so you can say it is the Ladakh region of the Union Territory. Okay, so Ladakh is a Union Territory right now. Then coming to the next part, this project started in 1985. Obviously when this particular project started, then Ladakh was a part of Jammu and Kashmir. Okay, so this project started in 1985. The objective of the project is to enhance the connectivity in this particular area. And why connectivity should be enhanced in this area? When we are talking about the vicinity with our neighbors, that is China and Pakistan, so we need to have a particular border infrastructure, we need to have a connectivity infrastructure, so that the deployment of forces can be done. Okay, here under the project, BRO is responsible for the construction and the maintenance of the roads related infrastructure, including the world's highest motorable roads. Okay, so that is Umingla is one of them. Now here you will see, this is the position where you have this pass, that is Umingla. Okay, so I hope there is this Tusul sector which is present over there. So I hope this is clear. This is the area of your Ladakh. Okay, so this is a physical map, so the political boundaries are not given over here. So anyway, you must be aware of this particular thing, that now this area has been divided between two union territories. One is Jammu and Kashmir and second is Ladakh. Okay, now coming to the next part, that is basically AIMS blood test offers hope and help in early Alzheimer's diagnosis. Okay, so basically when we are talking about Alzheimer is a particular condition wherein you start to lose your memory power, or you can say your motorable powers, when we are talking about the movement of the body. And in the later stages you will go for this particular thing, but in the initial stages you will not realize that you are having any kind of symptoms, because this is related to the memory. And when we are talking about the memory is very subjective things. Right now if I try to remember something and if I am not able to do so, so I will not say that I am a person of you can say patient of Alzheimer's. But at the age of more than 60-65, at that age particular, there is this tendency of these elder people to forget things. Okay, and that can happen. Okay, but the thing is, if this is happening at an alarming rate, or there is something, other symptoms are also there, in that case that is Alzheimer's. Okay, we will talk about the symptoms, etc. We will see what happens inside the brain as well. Okay, now here you will see a simple blood test developed by the researchers and the doctors at the All India Institute for Medical Research or Medical Science, that is AIMS. Okay, at New Delhi. So AIMS New Delhi has actually come up with this particular research, and they have come up with the idea of this blood test may help in early diagnosis of the Alzheimer's disease, a progressive type of a dementia that mainly affects those aged 65 and above. Now they are saying that it is the progressive kind of dementia. Okay, dementia means that you are basically coming to a condition where you are forgetting things. Okay, now they are talking about that it will happen only after the age of 65 and above. That is also true. Then there is this particular thing which they are saying that it is a disease which does not show many symptoms at the early stage. Now if we are detecting this particular disease at the early stages, okay, at that point of time, since it is a progressive disease, it will take some 15 to 20 years when this will start showing you the symptoms. Okay, now if you are detecting it early at the stage of, you can say, at the early stage of 1 or 2 years, okay, so it will take 15 years. In the 15 years you can actually give some certain kind of treatment, you can give actually certain kind of medicine, etc., which will delay the process. Okay, so that process which was supposed to start after the 15 or 20 years, that might go after the 30 years. Okay, then obviously if you are at the age of 60 or 65, and after that you are extending this condition to next nearly 25 years, so basically you are reaching up to age of 90. Okay, so that is sufficient for a person to live with their own dignity. Okay, now here you will see 90% of the 90 patients from Delhi NCR has been selected, and they are of the age between 50 to 75, to develop a blood screening test for the early diagnosis of the disease and help understand what caused their memory to fade, considering an estimate of 8.8 million Indians older than 60 have some form of dementia. Okay, so basically here this is particular data which is given, which is of no use right now. This study is basically based in Delhi. There are 90 patients which has been taken, and here you will see a predictive blood test can help shift these with the Alzheimer's, and the help in the better you can say management of these particular cases. Okay, so when we are talking about this Alzheimer, and if you are coming up with a blood test because of which you are getting an idea at the early stage that you are having this particular disease, or you are developing this particular disease, at that point of time you can basically manage it quite well. Okay, now on the there are 6 markers, blood markers. When we are talking about this particular test, there are certain markers which has been used. There are 6 markers, and markers means that there is certain you can say kind of proteins which are present in the brain cells when there is this initiation of the Alzheimer's started. These are called AB plaques. Okay, alpha beta plaques. Okay, so these are certain kind of protein, and if they are in the if they are present in the blood or you can say the brain, in that at that point of time you will realize that you are starting to develop Alzheimer's. Okay, here you will see, you don't have to read all these things, just know that here Alzheimer's disease, a condition where clusters of amyloid beta, AB or tau protein is there. Okay, so tau protein and AB plaques, these are the proteins which are starting to accumulate in the brain, and because of which they disrupt the memory. Okay, protein in the brain disrupt the memory and processing functions. The ratio of these proportion in the blood can help determine the stage of Alzheimer's. Now we know that these AB plaques or the tau proteins, these are basically responsible for the Alzheimer's disease. Now if we find a way to find out that how much percentage is there in the you can say blood, that means that we will realize that if there is Alzheimer or not. So basically that is the idea behind it. Okay, India could easily become the dementia capital of the world, and the biggest gap in understanding these diseases, this disease is the lack of the blood screening for the biomarkers. Okay, see the sample size here is 50. Okay, sorry 75. So basically 75 to 90 or something like that, we have the sample size. Here in Delhi we are working on 90 patients. Okay, so that is the sample size. So basically we are saying that we don't have that particular kind of data, and that is why the research is taking long. And but since we are close enough, so India could become a dementia capital of the world, because anywhere in the world we don't have a particular, you can say, diagnosis or a proper diagnosis or the early diagnosis of dementia. Other than that, also we don't have a treatment for this Alzheimer's. Okay, so that is why India can become a hope for the patients of Alzheimer's. AIMS blood test can detect these biomarkers at least 10 to 15 years before the disease becomes full blown, enabling doctors to slow the progress, which we have already discussed. If we detect the disease nearly 10 to 15 years early, then we can slow down the process of that particular you can say process of dementia. Now this can be done by the treatment that can manage symptoms and the lifestyle corrections mid-adult life, then involving diet, exercise, etc. So that can be done, because since we know that there is no treatment, there is no cure for the Alzheimer as of now, so we have to made some change in the lifestyle. We have to take certain diseases, certain medicines which can actually slow down the process of this particular disease. Okay, so that is there. There is no cure for the Alzheimer's, and once detected, one can only provide symptomatic relief, but it develops over a year of 15 to 20 years. So if we are able to detect the signs 10 years before, patient might be able to stop degeneration with the healthy lifestyle. Okay, this biomarker test is effective because it can measure biological changes that indicate if the disease is present or or a person is at the risk of the developing the particular disease. Okay, so I hope that is clear. It is not nothing very specific. Just the thing is, in the Alzheimer, when it start developing, there are these AB plaques and the tau protein, and if these proteins are present in the blood, that means that you are actually developing Alzheimer's. Okay, and after this realization, you can work on the treatment. Okay, so I hope that is clear. Now moving further, here you will see what happens inside the brain. This is the brain, that is normal brain. Here you can see that we have hippocampus and cerebral cortex. Okay, this is the normal size of the brain, and these are the neurons. When we are talking about the neurons are basically the you can say networks inside the body which actually controls every functions. Okay, so this is a healthy neuron inside the brain. Okay, now what happens in the Alzheimer's? In the Alzheimer's, there is this shrinkage of the cerebral cortex. Okay, this is the cerebral cortex upper side, and it will start shrinking. Okay, and there are these ventricles which get enlarged. Okay, other than that, there are hippocampus which we have seen, it will start to shrinkage. So basically there will be deformations in the brain which will happen. Okay, and because of which, and these deformations are basically result of these tau proteins which are present over there and these AB plaques. Okay, so here you can see these are the tau proteins which are present inside the neurons, and here you will see this is basically the AB plaques which we are talking about. So basically because of these two depositions, the working of the you can say brain is hindered, and because of which you will feel dementia like symptoms. Okay, here you will see okay, I'll try to go slow. Okay, so here you can say symptoms of Alzheimer's disease. So one, memory related problems which we have discussed, then difficulty with communication. Okay, there are chances that you won't be able to identify the person. Okay, and then if you don't identify or if you don't confide with the person, there are chances that you will not be able to communicate well. Okay, then trouble with decision making, sleeping difficulties can be there, and forgetfulness. Obviously if there is a memory loss, then forgetfulness will be there, inability to recognize people or things, aggressiveness will be there, difficulty in completing tasks, behavioral changes will be there, social withdrawal will be there, because since you are not able to identify the people, then you will be withdrawing from the society. Okay, so that is about the Alzheimer. Now coming to the next part, that is basically your you can say hybrid vehicles which we have talked about in the start of the discussion. Okay, so recently there was this you can say waiver which has been given by the UP government. Okay, and UP government has said that they will be giving you a waiver of up to nearly 3.5 lakh rupees on these vehicles, and that is to give a push to the green energy, or you can say green mobility. When we are talking about green mobility, why do we need this? Because of the greenhouse gas effect, because of the climate change, because of the temperature rise, all these things are responsible for that. So we are trying to go for the lesser and lesser pollution so that we can avoid this climate related kind of things, and that is why we are going for the you can say hybrid vehicles. Other than that also that there are these electrical vehicles. Now the thing is, recently there was this trend that the hybrid vehicles, the sale of the hybrid vehicles has increased. Okay, when we are talking about in relations, or you can say when we are comparing with the electrical vehicles. So with respect to the electrical vehicle sale, or in comparison to the electrical vehicles, the hybrid vehicle sale has increased, because in hybrid vehicles what you will find that there is this combustion engine will be there, plus there will be electrical engine. When we are talking about the electric engine, in electrical vehicle there will only be an electrical engine, batteries, etc. Okay, but let's see, if you are moving somewhere, if you are going on a trip and suddenly your you can say battery gets discharges and there is no electrical or you can say charging infrastructure, and then there will be a trouble, and that is why the people are not very sure with the electrical vehicle yet, because there is no charging infrastructure. Okay, but in this case combustion engine and the electric engine both will be there, and they will be operating, either combustion engine will be operating, either you can say electrical will be operating, or both will be operating. Okay, so simultaneously you can go for a change over there. So in case your electric you can say battery has discharged, so you can switch to the combustion engine, and that is why these are more prominent, and that is why their sale is been increasing in the recent years. Okay, and other than the UP, there is this Tamil Nadu and Chandigarh. These are also the places which has actually gone for the incentives for this particular thing. Here you will see in financial year 2023, strong hybrids made up to 0.5% of the total sales, which has increased to 2.2% of the total sales in 2024. On the other hand, if you see on the electrical vehicles, that has actually a slower pace. In 2023, there was this 1.3% of the total sales, and then that has increased to I guess 2.3% in the market in the 2024, but that increase is more in this particular case, 0.5 to 2.2. Okay, so that is there. Now, making hybrid cheaper, hybrid vehicles combining an internal combustion engine, that is ICE, with electrical motor, working towards gathering power to the car. So basically, when we are talking about this hybrids, both of the engine will be there. Okay, and in that case the efficiency will be higher. Second thing is, you won't be having this trouble in between if you are on a trip, and then because since electric battery might get discharged, but there are option of the combustion engines as well. Okay, so that is about the you can say this particular article, which is related to UP's waiver for the hybrid may push for the green mobility. Okay, so I hope that is clear. Now moving to the next part. I have taken this article for one reason, that in UPSC there are tendency to ask this question, that the you can say the sale of the hybrid vehicle has increased with respect to the electric vehicle. We know that government is giving push for the electric vehicles, that is there in the news, we see it many times. But when we are talking about with respect to this particular hybrid vehicles and the sale of electric vehicle has increased, so we might have this tendency that since hybrid vehicles have the ICE engines, so there are chances that government is going for the push for the electrical vehicles, and we might mark it wrong. But the thing is, right now, since we do not have the charging infrastructure, the sale of hybrid vehicles is higher. Okay, so that is there. Now moving further to the next article, which is related to your European Free Trade Association. Okay, we have EFTA, and we have actually made a deal and agreement with them. Okay, so recently our minister, commerce and industry minister Piyush Goyal, he will be visiting Switzerland in that particular regard. So here you will see the commerce and the industry minister Piyush Goyal will visit Switzerland to take forward a 100 billion investment commitment for India made by the 4 nations, that is basically your Switzerland, then we have Norway, we have Iceland, and then we have Liechtenstein. Okay, Liechtenstein, Iceland, Norway, and Switzerland. These are the 4 countries basically, that is your European Free Trade Association. So they have actually come up and made an agreement, or you can say free trade agreement with India, wherein we will be providing concessions to these countries in the duty, or you can say when we are custom duties, etc., and they will be coming up with $100 billion investment in India. Okay, $100 billion investment in India. They will do it, the first $50 billion will be done in I guess 10 years, and then the next 50 will be given in the next 5 years. Okay, so in total 15 years they will be giving you an investment of $100 billion. Now they are very excited to come to India because India is a huge market. Okay, that is why they are asking for the concessions in their for their products which they want to sell in India, and we have actually asked for this particular investment. Now when we are talking about this particular investment, obviously it will be coming in the form of foreign direct investment and not in the form of portfolio investments. Okay, so basically this will be a long term one, because when we are talking about the foreign portfolio investments, these are short term investments. Okay, so this will be coming as a form of FDI. Okay, and this will, when we are talking about the huge money like this, that will be coming as a form of FDI, that means that it will generate the infrastructure, that will generate the jobs in India. Okay, so that is about this article. Now moving further, for the last part, there is this, for your own read, there is this article which is related to a mega dam in the Arunachal Pradesh on I guess Siang river, and on that particular river there is this dam which is to be built, and locals are protesting. Okay, so that article will be covering in focus, so you can be waiting for that, and this program will be scheduled for the tomorrow morning. Okay, so that is about this today's discussion. Now last part, that is basically a practice question for you. What is the significance of Project Himank in the context of national security? A, it strengthens India's military presence in the remote areas. B, it enhances the cyber security capabilities. C, it monitors climate change efforts, improve the international relations. Okay, so I hope that is a very simple question. So you can attempt this question, answer me in the comment box. With that, I would like to take your leave. If you have not subscribed the channel, please subscribe it. Have a nice day. Thank you.